So welcome to our second week of database series. So last week we talked about database, introduction to database. What exactly is the database? So let's recap. Um, we say that database is the digital file cabinet, and we imagine the most basic file cabinet. It has three drawers: customer information, product information, and the store information. Customer being you, right? Your name, your date of birth, and all that stuff, and the item that you buy. What are you buying? Let's say that you buy three items. A laptop from Best Buy, a cell phone from Target, and your headphone from Amazon online, respectively. So the second drawer is storing the product information that you purchasing, right? What kind of stuff, and then the third drawer in that file cabinet are storing the store information. The name of the store, address, contact information, etc. Okay, and we talk about the Microsoft Excel workbook resemble the simple idea, simple form of this idea. The spreadsheet is kind of resemble the tables in the database, right? The spreadsheet in the Microsoft workbook is kind of like a drawer in the file cabinet. It's like a table in the database. A database is nothing other than it's just a large collection of a lot of tables, right? And then each the table is kind of like structured like a spreadsheet. It has rows and columns. The rows are basically just a record, right? And the column is kind of like an attributes of a record. Let's say that a customer information, it has 5 attributes: the name, the first name, last name, the middle name, the date of birth, and let's say the person's eyes color. Okay, those are the 5 attributes, and those are the 5 columns of Microsoft spreadsheet. Those are the 5 columns of a table in the database. So you can have as many records, as many entries in the tables in the database, but the number of columns, the number of attributes remain fixed, remain stable once you already define the structure for the tables in the database. We talk about how to create the database, create the database and create tables in the database, and give the definition of those tables, like you define what are the attributes and all this stuff in the next coming weeks. Okay, so this week we will talk about why do we use, it's going to be a very, very short, brief week. Why do we use a database instead of Microsoft Excel or Google Spreadsheet? If you already have Microsoft Excel and Google Spreadsheet, why do we need to use a database? Well, why Microsoft Excel and Google Spreadsheet are great for kind of like a small scale task, right? The database at Excel in the large scale task. People use database primarily because of its performance. Let's say that when we talk about performance, we talk about 2 factors: the ability to handle large volume of data far more efficiently, far more effectively, and let's say the speed, right? That they be able to search and access, they perform their retrieval operation significantly faster. So people use database, over Microsoft Excel because of its performance. When you're dealing with, hundreds of thousands of records, even millions of records, right? Imagine a real life scenario, a population in the city in the U.S. Let's say you have San Francisco, you have, Los Angeles, you have Chicago, you have New York. The population alone, it has like 8 or 9 millions of people, like a Tokyo city in Japan or Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. They have like 8 or 9 millions of people, and when you go, imagine the scenario when you go to a DMV, you go to a university, office of registrar or a mission office, and they look up your information using your social security number or using your student ID, and once you give them your information, and they have this little icon. They keep saying processing. You know, remember they use database for that purpose because of its speed. And when they search, when you go to the DMV, they search your record against a massive data set. You know, a massive data set, hundreds of thousands of people, even millions of people, you know, like a city population and all that stuff. That's why they use database over Microsoft, you know, Excel spreadsheet, because it provides far beyond the typical capacity of a spreadsheet. Okay, and the next part we will talk about the installation of the database. For instance, there's a different tabs, a different variety of option for different kind of like database, but MySQL is the one I'm going to show you, and it will be best to show you my screen when I actually do the installation, or maybe I just do the screenshot of you know, the installation process and put it in the PDF file or something, because that would be the next part. So, you know, keep your eyes out for the second part of the installation for this week's database series. Okay, so have a great day, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing you next week.